We continue our work in Ukraine Crisis Media Center, and we are giving the floor to Artem Sytnyk, Director of the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine. Good afternoon to everyone. During the recent 2 days, the information space of Ukraine is full of the story concerning the detention of the staff of NABU and the joint operation of the Department of Anti-Corruption Bureau and the General Prosecutor's Office. We did not give comments so far because we wanted to understand what happened, and now in principle I am ready to give answers to the questions which may you may have after the statement 2 days ago in the scope of the case about so-called mythical provocation of the bribery by allegedly conducted by the NABU staff member in 2 conspirative premises. The searches were conducted and multiple searches at the places of NABU and their relatives, and the searches were accompanied by the cynical behavior of the security service of Ukraine officers and damage to the property of our staff and their relatives. Having analyzed the situation and the data which we have and what we got to know from the General Prosecutor's Office, we can make the findings about the causes of the cynical behavior of the Secret Service of Ukraine and the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine. The formal reason was the first deputy head of the State Migration Service of Ukraine submitted filed that some provocative actions take place against her, and after that the searches were conducted in the premises of NABU officers. No anti-corruption bureau staff members are detained so far at the moment. I would like to thank my colleagues because they are working in the conditions of entire resistance, in particular on the part of the General Prosecutor's Office, and our staff members are courageous persons, and we put all our efforts into combating corruption in Ukraine. And I would like to thank my colleagues, and I'm sure that with this team, which is not large, we have the chance to continue our combat and to continue demonstrating good results. The goal of the SSU actions to the disruption of secret operation of the NABU. I would like to repeat that the first deputy head of SMS, she was not a figure who we wanted to detain. We wanted to detect the scheme, the large-scale scheme which is operating in SMS. We started working since April 2017, and I'm convinced that in the country at war, the free access to getting a passport of Ukrainian citizen could not be free, and we started this operation because of that. During July, August, we documented several episodes. The source materials proving this were published yesterday, but some information was disclosed. It was classified information, and the staff member was recruited, so the scheme was disclosed. So the statement about the provocation of bribe, it was submitted to Security Service of Ukraine, and this goal by the unit of anti-corruption in Security Service of Ukraine, they reached their goal. We lost the opportunity to finalize our operations, so we have only those evidence which we had by the moment of the disruption of our operation. The second goal is to disrupt all secret operations of the NABU. It was the main goal of penetration to the conspirative premises of NABU, and this goal also was achieved. Our secret operations have been stopped, and in terms of operation of anti-corruption bodies, this is not moral. If someone thinks that we do not know the information about secret premises of other bodies which are combating corruption, we know such information, but we do not disclose it because of some revenges for some criminal prosecutions, or the leaders of the state may give instructions to ruin the Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine. I'm surprised that such actions were conducted by the Security Service of Ukraine, who knows how difficult it is to build such units, and I'm very surprised that it was under the management of the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine. The third goal is to ruin the agents network, but the agents network is something else, and there is not enough information. They failed to find such information, although they tried to get it via searches and via interrogations, 30 hours long interrogations, but they failed to disclose our agents network. The fourth goal is to threaten and intimidate our staff, and this goal has not been achieved despite of the provocations of the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine and Security Service of Ukraine. Indeed, the system of HR, of human resource recruitment, it is not free of mistakes, but the system of recruiting allowed us to establish the team, to form the team, which are not large in number. This is a small team, but it has moral qualities to oppose the sabotage and attacks, and I would like to address my colleagues from law enforcement offices. The goal which you wanted to achieve, you failed to achieve it, but the moral of law enforcement bodies is compromised. I would not call on you to cooperate. when the special operation is disrupted on uncovering the bribery in SMS in the country at war, it is a very bad result. Then the cause is why it happened. This happens because of the reason that we do not have autonomous wiretapping. The information we need to provide to the security service of Ukraine, and it was used to recruit this figure and then to fake this myth about provocation of bribery. That is why, despite the parliament do not pass the law on autonomous wiretapping, it was even a requirement of IMF and our international partners many times repeated this requirement. At the same time, I'd like to say that these sabotage acts, they would not stop us, they would not prevent us from carrying out our activities. Of course, it was a blow on us. Now we will regroup this unit. In our opinion, despite any relationships between the bodies inside the country, it is inadmissible to ruin some other bodies combating corruption inside the countries. Truly speaking, we do not understand such behavior. Just like them, we know also information about their conspirative premises, but we could not allow ourselves to act like this, despite of our attitude to other organizations, to our counterparts. The governmental position is also strange for us. There is no interagency war inside the country. There are ambitions of separate leaders of some bodies in the countries. The independent anti-corruption body has been established. It is much criticized, but our body demonstrated what was lacking in Ukraine previously. And our agency is a response to all critics speaking on TV channels controlled by our opponents. We are maximum close to the figures from the courts. All these sabotages, all these attacks, they are because they feel that the punishments are very close, that everything would become real very soon. That is why we will not stop our activities. First of all, because we have young, ambitious teams striving to achieve the goals. And we have done too much not to finalize our efforts. I am a little bit surprised with the position of the General Prosecutor's Office about the Amber operation. They named the operation the best, but the second operation, which was conducted by us, it is named, it is appreciated at low level. Both operations were conducted in close cooperation with the U.S. Colleagues. One operation was appreciated high, and the other was evaluated as a provocation. For me, such behavior is surprising. Upon analyzing what has happened, I am now telling you what are the goals of the people who are saying so and who did this. We are now documenting all the mistakes and violations during the searches on our staff and their families in order to prevent any statements, any allegations of our revenge. We do not have such intentions to revenge. But we think that the actions of those persons, those perpetrators of violations, they should be punished. This is not an interagency war. This is the opposition against the anti-corruption reform in Ukraine. That's all now. We have round of questions.
1+1 question. Sergei Shvets. 1+1. Mr. Sytnyk, I have several questions to ask, but the agenda is tough. So what can be done now in order to prevent future disruptions? It is unpleasant to hear about this disruption, and if you listened carefully, I would say that there should be autonomous wiretapping, otherwise there always be risks, and we understand that our people will always risk their lives and health, and they may be disclosed. But we analyzed what can happen, and this is the example of what can happen if we face a situation like this. And this is our joint position with anti-corruption prosecutor's office. Unfortunately, my colleague was not able to come and tell about our joint position, and our colleagues from SAPO, they are the only who supported us in this. And once again, I would like to say that I'm not optimistic about the adoption of this law, because this minimizes the risks that we have, and at the same time we won't stop, and we will try to find opportunities in order to minimize the risks. I said that when we document SBU officers, we rarely address to wiretap, because this is almost 100 of the leak of information, and unfortunately we won't be able to use this resource to the maximum. And now I hear the declarations that NABU wiretapped 100 persons. So this is not serious. We said that we didn't have such a technical opportunity, and everything is done through SBU service. And these declarations are countermeasures in order to stop the adaptation of such legislation. So in order to end with this issue, so I do not believe that this law will be adopted, but we won't stop work in this direction. And yes, this was a serious blow, but nothing really serious happened, and people are at work, they are working, and we will be stronger because of this. Next question. Alisa Verchenka, Our Money. Artem Sergeyevich, 2 questions. First, could you provide overall information about the searches, who, what officers were detained, and also about the position of Yuri Lutsenko? He said about this secret department, he said that these were the secret officers of NABU, and that they were selected without contest. And I do not remember about such an opportunity to select them without contest. And what is the way of your cooperation with them? Please explain this to us. So these were our officers, and their work is connected to the state secret. There was a contest, and legislative documents were adopted, and what was said by Prosecutor General, this will be taken into account in investigation, but all documents are present, and this was in the framework of the law on the work in NABU, and if someone believed that there are violations, this is not true. And the number of people, searches and people. So all the officials are now working. They are not detained, and they are ready to face the challenges in the course of their work, and the concrete number of searches. So this was done in several addresses, and 6 searches, more than 10 searches were conducted. Facts of the Week program. Tell us, please, about the money spent for these operations, and what are the losses of the budget because of such disclosure. So I cannot provide the figures because this is classified information. Once again, thank you for your question. Disrupted operations, and so we cannot bring them to the end as we envisaged, and there are documented facts that can be legally assessed. That's why now we will address to our colleagues from National Anti-Corruption Bureau, and there are interesting materials. They are of the similar interest, and also I would like my colleagues to provide legal assessment to the facts that were documented in these operations, and we made them public yesterday. So about the expenditures for such operations, this figure depends on the operation, on the measures that are implemented. Once again, I would like to say why it is not ethical to disrupt such operations. We have opportunities to do this, but we won't do this because state money is provided for this, and when they avoid responsibility, this is one consequence, and the money is spent not only material but also other resources, and this is unacceptable. And for the third or fourth time, I repeat that this is not ethical for law enforcement bodies to take equipment and to block the work of detachments. And when I started my speech from this. So I agree with you, but taxpayers pay to the budget, and these at least approximately, what are the losses of the budget from this? So we will think what. It will be the disclosure of state secret, and officers of SBU, they post pictures on the internet, and journalists start to use them, and no one says about disclosure of the state secrets, and also no one say about disclosure of secrets. And so if a person started to act like this, maybe they're following the agenda. So, Alexander Pavlichuk, Слово и дело newspaper. In the decision of Romanovsky case in the International Court,
you know, and do you recognize the European norms? What kind of provocations you have legal educational background, as far as I see, in the agent's task, in the assignment, is that the provocations are unacceptable. This is what we give in assignments to our staff members. The third is, if you looked in detail yesterday to the materials, photo and video materials, look again, watch them again. There was no time when our staff member mentioned any amount. This is what we brief our staff members about when we teach them, when we train them, and we planned our operation in accordance with such European norms. Yesterday, Mr. Lutsenko has already said not about the provocation like voicing out an amount, but he was saying that it was provocation of provision of illegal service. Katerina wanted a legal service, but this agent wanted an illegal service, to issue a passport to a citizen who was not entitled to get an Ukrainian passport. When we demonstrated the materials which we have collected first to the opinion of the prosecutor's office, it was such an issue. You remember that you promised me, you offered me $30,000, but in August she, answering the question of the consultation, she proposed the scheme which costs $30,000, and to ruin this scheme we conducted this operation. I'd like to repeat it. The comparison was surprised for me when our operation was compared with the Amber operation. And our operation is named provocation, and the Amber operation is named a brilliant best practice operation. Let's document some official or some police official. This was really operations. The goal of these operations like this is to disclose corruption schemes. When we start, we orient to disclose a scheme, and documenting the agent is forbidden to make some active actions, like it is said in the European Court's decision. Only passive behavior to make the figure in the case to start active actions. Larissa Sargan said that special attention of the General Prosecutor's Office was paid to valuable scenes which Miss Katerina has. This is not so. This is not true. This property is not of Miss Katerina's. It belongs to other persons. I understand the General Prosecutor's Office was very glad to disclose the information, personal information of Miss Katerina's property, to disclose information about her family, and it is a big risk. Kristina Britinsky, New Time magazine, an official of the Immigration Service for some time have been aware of oversight over her. Maybe she also made counter supervision actions. Yesterday, Lutsenko have claims against undercover agents about some special drinks used, strong drinks used, and some sexual relations. The agent has been built in the relations since April. Some episodes were documented in April and starting with September. The behavior of this person changed, and we stopped contacts with her because her behavior changed. After that, she initiated contact with our agent herself, and she initiated the talk, returning her to this previous August talk. I didn't want to give these comments in detail before I knew what is happening. So now I am responsibly saying that I know what is happening because I have already studied all the materials in this case. Zik TV channel. My question is, you know that without some special legislation you have no powers, and also you have no alias. What would be your next step so that your body survives in this environment in our country? Well, these problems are well known. We have been talking about them for several months. Now you ask the question which contains political component. If I answer, colleagues who are unfair in their actions will be saying that I am making my political career. The only way to survive is to be maximum compliant with the law, maximum consistent with the law. What we are blamed in, that there are no sentences, and you see now, once or twice every of you were in the court, and you see that no trials happen in courts, and this official of the immigration service, she also has a case initiated, a case of bribery initiated against her in court, but this case is not tried in court so far. It has not been tried. So the second allegations against us is that our cases are selective and our activities are selective. We have the whole area of cases pending in the General Prosecutor's Office about the ex-officials. We orient to work on the cases of officials now in offices, because those cases of ex-officials, they are of less interest. So all our cases, they concern all factions and officials. The third allegation is that NABU is playing political games. It depends on the author of such allegation. Someone is organizing a party or a movement, analyzing specific investigation. Every investigation starts with someone starting an investigation, journalistic investigation. So to each of the allegations we have specific answers, and the answer is the only one. If we would have any political component, our position would have been far worse. So our principles are no political component, no selective approach, and consistent compliance with the law. Sergei Tsigipa, website главное. You said that the last operations you conducted in loan with CIS. According to the international experience, what do you think about disclosing real names of your agents? What will be the fates of these agents after this? I am very negatively assess these facts. We have the same opportunities, but we would not disclose such information about the staff of other borders. This is disclosure of state secret. This is the name of the sections. What is happening? The developments are named as in Soviet time it was named sabotage. The title classified of classified information could be lifted only by me, the head of NABU, but I did not allow to disclose this information. We can see only in movies how agents remain undercover for a long time. We understand that staff members in real life could be disclosed. They are skillful, ambitious people, and they will always find positions in our bureau. They can speak about their successes publicly, and I'm thankful to our staff members for their work and their courage, and we will be protecting them by legislative means according to the laws of Ukraine, and they help the reform to be implemented.